Good morning, Kansas City. Welcome to Uncanceled on KCMO Talk Radio 95.7 FM. I am your humble host today, Kevin Kietzman, with you until the Vince Show begins in about an hour or so. We got a great one lined up today, including Alligator Alcatraz, which is happening as it's unfolding right now, like live on television. So much fun. We've got some unbelievable polling data to share with you at 10:30, and later when Mark joins us, you could have made a fortune betting on the Royals this year. They have been the easiest team to make money on in baseball. We'll tell you how a little bit later in the show. But we start with something really big picture, and that is Donald Trump with wind in his sails and an unbelievable amount of mojo, I guess, is what you would swagger. And at every turn, wherever the cameras are, he's starting to really show it. And he is now taking all of the things that he said in the first few months of his presidency about other countries and tariffs and other leaders, and he is turning it on people in America. His number one target right now is Elon Musk. His number two target is likely to be this guy, Mamdani, that is going to be running for mayor in New York. Trump and Elon Musk is getting really nasty, and Trump has been in front of the cameras twice already today, and at both times he has said things about Elon Musk that are absolutely unbelievable, including the discussion of deporting Elon Musk back to South Africa. He said he'd have to find out if that's legal or not, but he has instructed today the Department of Justice to deport or denaturalize, let's say that, denaturalize American citizens that were not born here if they are affiliated to or committing a crime, if they are threatening, if they have a nexus to terrorism or national security. This guy running for mayor of New York has said he's going to arrest Benjamin Netanyahu if Netanyahu ever steps foot in New York City. So I would ask you this, if the DOJ can do that to someone who was not born in America, and the guy who's running for mayor of New York was not born in America, he's a naturalized American citizen just like Elon Musk. If you can do that and you find somebody in a criminal enterprise and you can take their citizenship away and deport them, I think it might be time for Elon Musk to take quiet on the big, beautiful bill and everything else going on. I don't think Trump wants to take it that far, but Elon Musk posted yesterday one of the most terrifying things if you're a conservative or Republican or a libertarian or a populist or MAGA, however you want to identify. He said yesterday, if this bill passes, and it's gone through the Senate now here today, so it's headed back to the House, and I'm actually kind of tired of the whole process. It's ugly. Our government is ugly. They don't function well. The bill is not what it could be. It's a really good bill, but it's not what it could be. Elon Musk has said if this passes, he's going to identify every Republican in the House and the Senate that's running in 26 that at any point said they were running for office to lower the cost of government. And he is personally going to fund campaigns in primaries against all those people and try to get them out. He said, I'll do that first, but the day after the bill passes, I'm also starting a new political party called the America Party. Now, I don't know if he's serious about this or not, but he posted it. He said he will form the party, which doesn't cost much money to form a party. So it's legalese and a fee or whatever, and you file with the Federal Election Commission, and you go forward. He wants to call this the America Party. If Elon Musk goes out and starts a third party, the Democrats will control everything forever. He will take the Thomas Masseys of the world, the farthest right, the people that I'd have no trouble voting for. I respect Thomas Massey's position, Rand Paul, these guys. What I don't respect is holding up doing the work of the American people based on being just a hardline, philosophical, we're not going to have any taxes, we're not going to have any deficit, we're going to whatever. You have to get this bill done. We cannot have a 68% tax increase in September. We can't do it. We have to keep the country moving. And so these hardline guys, I understand they want to be hardliners. I'd like to think I'd be like that, but I don't think I would. I think I'd be more like Trump, a pragmatist. I don't think Trump's happy with everything in this bill. He's not going to say that publicly. But if Elon Musk goes out and starts a new party where he simply recruits the hardest, farthest right candidates to primary up against everyone else, or run in a general election then as an independent, we're going to lose elections right and left. We're going to have a huge problem in this country, and he is a serious threat because he has so much money. I don't know how serious he is. This is the one I think I'd like to see Trump try to calm it down a little bit And all he's done today is stoke the flames of it, saying he'd have to look into whether or not they could take away his citizenship and deport Elon Musk. It has been reported by the Washington Post that Elon Musk has received a minimum of $38 billion from the federal government in subsidies for rockets, for car batteries, for everything he's involved in. That's the bare minimum that he's received from our Treasury. So the guy that was tasked with going and cleaning up all the spending has received at least $38 billion from the Treasury, his companies. And he's doing the work of the American government. This is all legal. Nobody's insinuating this isn't legal. The question is, are we spending too much on things like that? All the rocket launches, all the new batteries, all the technology, all the robo-taxis, whatever he's using it for. Is that well-spent government money? It definitely goes against what Elon Musk is saying. He's saying we got to rein in the spending with the government. At the same time, he's taking the money from the government. Trump stated he's taken more money than any person in history from a government in subsidies. So this is really complicated, and it's not just about the EV mandate. Trump is now saying Doge is a monster, and it could eat Elon. That's the term he used. It's a monster, and we may have to turn it on him and eat Elon with Doge. He's going to direct Doge to look into Elon Musk's subsidy money. This is about to be a horrible, hideous fight that distracts from everything else that's going on that's important that the American people want to have done. I don't like it. I, generally speaking, like Trump being at odds with foreign leaders or Democrats. He always wins. Trump will win because he's president. He knows that. He'll win at least the next 4 years. I can't speak about after that. But he'll win the next 4 years, and Elon Musk will lose. And he basically just said in Florida, right there by landing in Alligator Alley, he basically said he doesn't want to take me on. I'm the president of the United States. He doesn't want this fight. There's too many things. There's deportation on the table. There's losing citizenship on the table. There's $38 billion in subsidies that we can sick Doge on you. And if we find that you did one thing wrong, we could charge you and arrest you. This is embarrassing. To be honest, it's just totally embarrassing for our party, for our country, for the good things that we have going. And all of the wins that Donald Trump is racking up, this is the last thing we want. I mean, is it possible that Trump is better at peace in the Middle East than he is at peace with Elon Musk? This bromance was in full swing 2 months ago. They were best friends, and now it's just awful, the things they're threatening one another with. And no matter what they're threatening each other with, if either does it, it's bad for the party. It's bad for America. It's bad for the agenda. It's bad for about everything getting done. And yes, it's a couple of billionaires having a peeing contest. That's exactly right. One billionaire has a lot less money than the other, but he has the Oval Office. And he has the bully pulpit. And he's done that. We can't have this. We can't have the party turn into this. It's one thing to pick on Thomas Massie or the retiring Senator Tillis from North Carolina. You know, you can steamroll some people like that. I just don't think you want this fight with Elon Musk. I think he would look – any of these things that he's allowing to be talked about, and make no mistake about it, Trump loves getting questions asked. Can you really denaturalize him? Can you really deport him? He loves those questions. Just having it out there just sounds dirty. Yes, do that for us. But a fight with Elon Musk, nobody voted for that. Nobody went in and wanted Donald Trump to do this one. They need to nip this in the bud. We need to get it nipped in the bud fast. And it is distracting from the Alligator Alcatraz grand opening, which is fantastic. He's with Ron DeSantis, which is good business for DeSantis. Trump's got his Gulf of America hat on. I love that. This all looks great. This is all on brand for Donald Trump, the president. What is not on brand is threatening Elon Musk. It just doesn't make any sense, and I would like to see it end. What do you think? 913-408-7957 is the number to call. Join me right up. 913-408-7957. We can talk big, beautiful bill, things you're happy with, disappointed with, Alligator Alcatraz, if you're on board with that. And do you think Trump should do these things to Elon, or should he just drop it and keep Elon out of the news? 913-408-7957 is our number. This is Uncanceled on KCMO Talk Radio.
It's Kevin Kietzman, Uncanceled, on 95.7 FM, KCMO Talk Radio. CMO Talk Radio.
In just a few minutes, we'll share with you some unbelievable polling news. It's really good. There's a lot of good stuff out there. And as news happens with the president at Alligator Alcatraz today, or anything with the big, beautiful bill, of course, you'll hear it right here on KCMO Talk Radio first, all day long, all across the platforms and different shows. We'll keep our eye on this thing. All right, let's go to the phones, and we're going to start today with Steve in KCK. Good morning, Steve. You're on Uncanceled. How are you, sir?
Hey, Kevin. Good morning, buddy.
Hey.
I think your read is pretty good here. We're on a roll like we haven't been since Reagan in 88 or 89. I mean, we don't need J.D. Vance just rolled up to the Senate, so it looks like this thing is going to get passed today. I think the difference here is that Elon Musk is a recreational drug addict, and Mamdani is, from what I heard in his rap lyrics, he's a terrorist sympathizer who threatened violence. So then he won't denounce Hamas. So I think the difference here is, I think it's perfectly acceptable to revoke Mamdani and deport him, but I don't think you need to go after Elon like this. I mean, Mamdani is going to destruct himself. I mean, this guy evidently apparently wanted to take over the means of production and the economy. I mean, this guy is a non-starter.
Well, I agree with you, and I also think Trump and the Republicans want him around in 26. They want to make the entire midterm election about the mayor of New York. I think that's coming. Yeah, I think that's part of the game plan. But after that, wouldn't it be interesting to see if Benjamin Netanyahu, if that man really becomes mayor, if Netanyahu went to New York City, what would happen?
Well, and listen, that's interesting you brought that up, because AOC is still running 2 points behind in the presidential. I would put her up. I would be boosting AOC. I mean, I would. She's going to be the face. Make her the face. Make her the face of the party. Right now, Trump has to just focus on Alligator Alcatraz. We're going to have the B-2 pilots at the White House fireworks, according to Dana Perino. We do have the female pilot is going to be there. I mean, that's just fantastic. We're having a Whiteman 2 B-2 flyovers over the White House for the fireworks. Let's stay on offense. Let's not get bogged down with threatening to deport Elon over some psychedelic drugs or something.
You got it, buddy. Thank you. I don't think it would be drug charges with Elon Musk. I don't think that's what they'd be going for. I just don't think it's good business. And I know what he's doing. He's firing a shot across the bow. He's threatening things that he probably is never going to act on to try to quiet Elon, all this. But the main thing, the really damaging thing, is we cannot have Elon Musk starting a third party. We can't have it. As great as that sounds, the one we had the chance to, if you were going to fund something, if we could have gotten BLM to form as a political party instead of a charity entity that basically imploded on itself because of all the theft and corruption within it, if we could have developed a BLM party as a third party in this country, it would have been Republicans forever, because they'd have taken somewhere between 5 and 10% of the Democrat votes in every election. And it would have been great. You can't, that's why we haven't gotten to a real third party at this point. If you don't like your party and you try to start one that is better than your party, you're handing it to the other side. And I think we can all see with the Democrats, there won't be one vote in the House and not one vote in the Senate for any of these bills. Like, they want the 68% tax increase. They want our taxes to go up in September, 68% across the board in the United States, on average, 68%. They want that because it will make Trump look bad, not them. Nobody will pay attention that they were the ones that didn't vote for this bill. It didn't pass. Taxes went up. It's all Trump's fault. That's what they want. Democrats want pain. They want pain and suffering, because then they can tell you the people in charge are awful at what they do. You got to vote for us. That's it. That's their playbook. We know exactly how they do that. And that's what they're all about. Jonathan is with us in Kansas City. Good morning, Jonathan. How are you?
How you doing, Kevin?
Good.
Elon Musk, I'll give it to him. I'll give him credit he is a very smart man. He knows a lot of stuff about a lot of things, it seems. If he's so smart, he should know, and you kind of just alluded to this, if he's smart and he looks at history, third parties don't really last that long successfully. And you're right; they can do a lot of damage in the short term. But the worst part about them is they don't. It's not sustainable long term. Ross Perot tried it. Teddy Roosevelt tried it with the progressive wing. And you know what? Even Trump himself, I think 20, 30 years ago, he thought about doing third party, and and he probably, he had the money. He could have done it back then. I think the reason why he didn't was he concluded, as a practical businessman, listen, it's never going to go anywhere. And when he finally decided to run, he's like, listen, I got to pick one of the parties. I'm going to go ahead and pick the Republican Party, which is not really like how I want to go, and which is why he refashioned the party instead of like, I'm just going to start my own party and run for president.
Yeah. He can't run for president because he wasn't born in the United States. So unless they change the law, Elon Musk cannot run for president. And the Democrats want to make this mayor of New York the face of their party. He can't run for president any day either, unless something just completely and dramatically changes with the Constitution. And they change everything. So that's not really the issue. I just don't. We still have 3.5 years left of the Trump presidency here. Things are going great. Let's just keep racking up the wins and not sit here and fight one after another over and over and over. I don't get the Trump Musk thing. There are some people that think the whole thing was like orchestrated. I don't. It certainly doesn't have the look of that right now. I think it's a couple of really, really, really rich guys that think they're the most powerful person in the world, and they're just titans doing battle, really. Here's David on KCMO Talk Radio. Hi, Dave.
Good morning. We need more choices, not fewer. We need more political parties and more candidates, not fewer. Now, the reason third parties get elected is because people don't vote for who they want to vote for. They vote to stop the other side. And that's why a third party is not going to go anywhere. If Musk funds opponents, primary opponents, that may take some traction in some areas. But forming a third party to run against these guys isn't going to work because people will not vote for a third party because
it's not about winning. Again, it's not about winning. This would be about hurting Trump. Like Trump, hang on, sir. Trump said a lot of things today that he could really hurt Elon Musk with. What can Elon Musk do to derail Donald Trump? If he forms a third party and they put candidates out there in the midterm elections in 26, the Democrats win everything. Trump will be handcuffed for 2 years.
Only if that third party gets votes, Kevin. And they're not.
How many do they need? Sir, they only need like 3 or 4%. You don't need many votes. Okay. You don't need very many votes. Like I've said this since the BLM thing started. If BLM, they talked for a while about becoming a political party. If they had done that, 90% of the votes, whatever they got, would have been taken away from a Democrat. If they just got 5% in a presidential election, Republicans win forever. You don't need many votes. Ross Perot already showed us how to do this. Now, Perot was up in the teens, I think. Bill Clinton didn't win the presidency. Ross Perot handed it to him.
Can I offer a solution?
Please.
Okay. There's a lot of different ideas out there, but the one I like is called ranked choice voting. It's a great system. And the reason Mandami won in New York is because of the ranked choice voting. He went out and he was positive, and he gave people a reason to vote for him. Whereas,
do you like Trump as president? Do you like Donald Trump?
I like a lot of what he's done. I'm not in the cold, but I like, generally speaking, yes. But I'm against the big ugly bill adding $5 trillion to our deficit.
I got to run here, but a great call. I'd love to debate with you anytime. This is fun. He never, ever, ever, Donald Trump would have won an election with ranked choice.
Kevin Kietzman is Uncanceled and back on Kansas City Radio. 10 to 11 a.m. on 95.7 FM KCMO Talk Radio.
I mean, there's so much transparency going on. They're just walking through. You remember they used to say, oh, Trump's terrible. He's got all these people in cages. That's literally what Alligator Alcatraz is. It's just a bunch of fenced cages inside a temporary-ish structure. They look like those big corporate tents they have at golf tournaments. That facility looks spectacular. And the best part is, most politicians, when they go do things like this, they look bored. They want to be back sitting behind their desk, or they're thinking about what they're going to have for dinner tonight or whatever. Trump loves this stuff. And he's in front of the cameras again and talking. And he's just going to bask in this stuff. It's just unbelievable to watch the man work. All right, back to the phones we go. And this is Fred calling from Overland Park. Hi, Fred. How are you?
Good. How you doing?
All right. Thanks.
Unfortunately, we've seen this movie before. It's a mental illness with some of the Republicans, and Elon's doing the same thing. Donald Trump and you guys and Levin and every station on the planet has made clear, if the tax cuts are not continued, it's going to be the largest tax increase in history. We're going to get beat like a rug in the midterm. Donald has made it clear. We know you don't like all of this. We know this isn't the perfect conservative deal here. We want to do more. We've got to go here first, do this first. You stay in power by not losing in the midterms. Then we'll do more and more of the things you're saying down the line. But if you're saying you don't want to vote for this and we're not going to pass it, largest tax increase ever, et cetera, you're gone probably in the next midterms.
Yeah.
This is not that difficult, really.
I'm 100% with you. Excellent call. I'm completely and totally with you. You have to have some pragmatism and get the work of the people done. Let's go live to Ochoape, Florida, the Alligator Alcatraz, Donald Trump and Ron DeSantis and Kristi Noem in front of the microphones.
We had, when I left, we had a very powerful border. We had no problem. You opened it up day one. You just opened the border, and people couldn't believe it. That's right. They were standing there. What are they doing? They said, go in. That's it. You look at the first day tapes. They opened it up and they said, go in, and that's where all of this began. But this is an amazing thing that they've done here.
Really but listen, people don't have to come here. If they self-deport and go home, they can come back legally. We will let them come back legally.
And there is a lot of self-deportation.
Yes. But if you wait and we bring you to this facility, you don't ever get to come back to America. You don't get the chance to come back and be an American again and work here. So
they weren't with us when the President and the Secretary Kevin and we went through the intake. So right when you do the intake, they have the information about voluntary departure. They have the ability. Obviously, you guys are funding that because it's a lot cheaper to do it that way. So even if they get brought to the front doorstep here, they still have an opportunity. They still have an opportunity to just go back voluntarily, and then this way they're not.
Let's say they get in here like, hey, I want to stay here. I want to go back.
We could put them on a plane that day and take them home. They'll buy their plane ticket, go home, and then they get the chance to come back legally. If they wait and say we're not going to do that,
they can come back legally after a period.
Mr. President, you've talked recently about the idea of finding some way to get farm workforce and service sector workforce, and I think you've discussed somehow a program of people leaving on a sponsorship and coming right back. Can you give us a little more detail about that and why, in the view of some hardliners, it's not amnesty?
Take care of our farmers and hotel workers and various other people, and we're working on it right now, and Ron's going to be involved, and you're involved already. So we have a lot of cases where ICE will go into a farm, and these are guys working there for 10, 15 years, no problem. The farmers know them. We're going to put, it's called farmer responsibility or owner responsibility, where they're going to be largely responsible for these people. And they know these people. They've worked on the farms for 15 years, and all of a sudden, so I have a great, Ron does, Kristi does, we have a great feeling for the farmer and for others in the same position. And we're going to give them responsibility for people. And we're going to have a system of signing them up so they don't have to go. They can be here legally. They can pay taxes and everything else. They're not getting citizenship, but they get other things. And the farmers need them to do the work. Without those people, you're not going to be able to run your farm.
Mr. President, you and the governor tangled pretty hard in the 2024 election. Yet you stand here now. You stand here now as partners on this effort. How would you describe the relationship, and what future does Governor DeSantis have?
I think it's a 10. Maybe 9-9, because there might be a couple of little wounds. So maybe it's 9-9. I think we have a 10. We get along great.
Well, the thing about it is, I endorsed him immediately in January 2024. I raised one of his PACs millions and millions of dollars, and obviously we saved him a lot of money in Florida because Florida was a deep red state. He didn't even have to do a rally in Florida, whereas 2016 and 20, this was like ground zero, and so we've been really happy to do that, and then we've worked very well on this and other issues with Florida. And you can call him at any time, and he wants to be helpful for governors. I mean, I can tell you that. We did Hurricane Helene last year. You didn't hear from the president at the time then, but with President Trump, we know immediately. You just make the phone call.
Yeah, as a follow-up question, I'm sorry, like another thing you inherited. How firm are you going to be with Netanyahu about ending the war in Gaza?
Very firm. But he wants it too. I will tell you. He's coming here next week. He wants to end it too. We had a tremendous success with Iran. They won't have me. Somebody said, when are you going to sign? I said, sign? They are so bombed out. Did you see the report issued this morning? The place was decimated. It'll be years before anybody even gets down there. So that's not a priority, but we'll have a report and we'll have whatever we want. We'll get whatever we want from Iran. And I think, and I hope they want to have a good country. They have massive sanctions right now, biting sanctions. It's going to be very hard for them to do anything with those sanctions. And I look forward to maybe there'll be a time when we get along with them and they can rebuild their country.
Is there a point where you tell Netanyahu, like, you got to end this now, you got to strike a deal?
Well, he wants to. I can tell you he wants to, and I think we'll have it. I think we'll have a deal next week. That's what I think.
Did you intend to announce your pick for successor to Jay Powell earlier than say, or as early as say this summer or this fall?
Will I do something about who it's going to be?
Yes.
I don't know. Hey, he'd be a good candidate. You might do him. She'd be a good candidate too. Anybody would be better than Jay Powell. No, he's causing us a fortune because he keeps the rate way up. I think it's Trump derangement syndrome personally, but we have a very strong country. We're the strongest country. Look, our country right now is at a level that we haven't seen for 40, 50 years. What we're doing now is nobody's seen anything like it. I told you, I was in the Middle East. The King of Saudi Arabia said to me very strongly, he said, you know what? A year ago you had a dead country. Now you have the hottest country in the world. We do. We have the hottest country in the world. Thank you very much.
Okay, that's President Trump. He's wearing a Gulf of America hat. It's a red one like the MAGA hats. And underneath it in smaller letters, I did not see this earlier, it says Gulf of America and in smaller letters, yet another Trump development. They're now touring the facility. We're looking at bunk beds in cages for illegal alien criminals. And the biggest news to come out of that is really simple. Who knew? We'll get you right to the doorsteps of this facility. And if you'll sign this piece of paper that you're self-deporting and leave and not get processed through here, you can go back to your country and get in line and try to do this legally if you want to come back. But the second you walk through the door and you become an inmate here, you will never be allowed back in America again. So it doesn't get any more fair than that, does it? If you're going to have a detention area for illegal aliens that have committed crimes that you've arrested, looks like there's going to be up to 3,000 beds in this facility now. They built it in 72 hours or something. They said they probably could have built it faster, but they got held up by a couple of regulations that they had to get signed off on. Pretty remarkable things. And this is as symbolic as anything else. You heard Kristi Noem chiming in there, and it's very important. Her job has been to try to get the word out to self-deport. They've been spending we talk about government cutting. They've been spending massive amounts of money with marketing and media all over the country, targeting people that they believe are in the illegal alien population of our country and encouraging them to self-deport. The support system behind it is, we'll help you. In some cases, we'll buy your plane ticket. We'll get you home safely. We want you to fill out the paperwork. We'll put it in the computer. You go home for now, and you're in line. And we're going to get to a point where we bring people in. Now, you can say that's disingenuous because Trump at the same time is selling citizenship for $5 million apiece. And most of these people certainly can't do that. So you may say it's disingenuous. It doesn't really matter. The point is you're going home either way, and you really don't probably want to go through this facility And you definitely don't want to go for you don't want to be a sleepwalker at this place. I don't think you want to walk off the runway and down into the Everglades. I don't know if it was Mark. I don't know if you saw the picture or not, because you never know when you're looking at social media. There was like an aerial shot of this airport, and the water is sort of clear, but you could see these. They looked almost like sharks. Most of them were underwater because it was kind of an aerial. It looked like there were hundreds of alligators in that water around that thing. It was unbelievable. And again, it could have been a fake one, but they say it's just filled with alligators and pythons.
Yeah, and in Florida, you never do know. Like, they could just wander in.
Yeah. Trump this morning, this guy, he was literally saying, if you're ever on land with one and it's coming after you, don't run in a straight line. Zigzag. He said that'll give you a 1% chance better of survival. Like, of course. That's what Trump is out there teaching to all of us, how to evade alligators should we be at the alligator Alcatraz. I got a couple of cool new polls here I want to share with you. The Gallup poll that came out is asking people if they're very or extremely patriotic. And if you're a GOP voter, you're 92% yes, very or extremely patriotic. Democrats are 36%. To put this in contrast, in 2001, again, this would have been maybe around 9/11, it was 90% Republican, 87% Democrat, but this has been a phenomenon going on for 20 years. The Democrat number has just been bleeding down and down and down and down. Even when their candidates win, they don't like America. We have clearly somehow educated millions of people in this country to hate America, that we're bad and we're not the best country. A Fox News poll came out this week and asked, are you proud of America? And the response was 6 in 10, 60% of Americans say yes. That is the most in 15 years. 1 year ago today, it was 45%. So it's up from 45% to 60% on that's all voters. Are you proud of America? And then this is weird polling on the big, beautiful bill. There is a slight majority, like 48-47 against the bill. People don't like the bill, but there's against. Also a slight majority in favor of the Medicaid cleanup. And you would think it would be the opposite. I think what happens here is when you ask somebody specifically a question like, should an illegal alien get benefits on Medicaid, they will say, no, I don't support that. So you're in favor of this in the big, beautiful bill. But then when you ask, do you like the bill? I think a lot of people just say, hell no, I don't like anything. Well, don't you think there's just a lot of people out there that a pollster would call and say, what do you think about this big, beautiful bill? They're all idiots. We hate them. We generically hate them all. It's Washington, D.C. I don't like it. So I just thought that was interesting, that it is possible that polls show kind of generically we hate everything, and there's some of that. 27% of registered voters approve of Democrats in Congress. It was 39% a year ago. They're down 12 points from 1 year ago. 27% of registered all voters across all platforms, 27% believe the Democrats are doing a good job in Congress. That's pretty rough. All right, when we come back, how you could make a bunch of money with a sports app on your phone and Kansas City Royals baseball. That's next on Uncanceled. We are brought to you, of course, today by our friends at bestofferkc.com, helping you leave the hassle behind. Some folks have inherited a house and they get it and they don't live here. Maybe you had family that lived in Kansas City and you live somewhere else, or you don't know where to turn. Maybe you know somebody in that situation and they just want to sell it, and they want to sell it fast and cash out of it. They don't want to clean it up. They don't want to go through it. They don't want to paint it. They don't want to show it. None of those things. And over 10% of the houses in Kansas City sell this way. Best Offer KC is the company with a heart. They really are helping you leave the hassle behind, and they want to work on your behalf to make this process exactly what you'd like it to be. In some cases, they'll lend you money for moving costs because you have to move before the house closes, and they'll loan you that money, and they'll help you out. They're really remarkable. Nobody else in the industry does things like that. They really are different. When you need to move quickly, bestofferkc.com. Their phone number is 338-SOLD. That's 338-SOLD. Online at bestofferkc.com, helping you leave the hassle behind.
From the nation's heartland, it's Kevin Kietzman Uncanceled on KCMO Talk Radio 95.7 FM.
The Vince Show is coming your way at 11 o'clock. Stay tuned for that. They're getting ready to vote the final vote on the Senate floor. They're nearing the final vote. J.D. Vance is presiding over the proceedings inside the Senate chamber. So it's apparently going to be happening here at some point today, and it will go back to the House where the wrangling begins again. And if they get this done on the 4th of July, I guess it will be a miracle. What is not a miracle is if you were Mark Van Sickle, if you'd like to put a little parlay together, I wonder if you could parlay multiple Royals games. They offer bets, Mark. We've heard about totals in games, like how many total points by both teams in a football game or how many runs in a baseball game. They offer it just for a team. So the Royals typically on any night, the Vegas will set them at 3.5, 4, 4.5 runs. Will they score more or less? If you played every game this year for $100, you would be up $3,500 right now. The Royals are 60-25 on the under of what Vegas puts their number at. That is some sort of an all-time record. That is impossible futility offensively.
That's crazy, especially going into this season with the expectations that it seemed like everybody had for them. And if the pitching was so good that if they were even just average as an offense, they would be one of the best teams in the American League.
Royals had a worse record in June than the Colorado Rockies or the Chicago White Sox. And since the first week of May, they have the second worst record in baseball. That's
sellers.
They're sellers. Yeah, they just don't have any kind of. They lost again last night, 6-2. They don't have any kind of a look of some sort of a postseason team. Do you remember a football player named Charles Tillman, Chicago Bears?
Yeah.
Yeah, Peanut, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Peanut Punch.
Peanut Punch. He invented the Peanut Punch. You've watched football before, ladies and gentlemen. You've watched a Chiefs player, knock the ball loose by making a fist and punching at the ball carrier and hitting the ball and knocking it loose. Peanut Tillman invented that. He saw that there was like a loophole in the rule and said, well, they can't penalize me for swinging and doing this if I hit the ball. So he did that 44 times in his career, knocked the ball loose with a Peanut Punch. He had 1,000 tackles, 38 interceptions. He's retired. He's in his late 40s now. He just became an FBI agent.
Nice.
That is the coolest thing ever.
Mm-hmm.
He's got like $45 million. He's out of football and feels a calling to go become an FBI agent. Like an agent, like not just working at the office or something. He's gone through all the training after football. I got great respect for that.
And he can train his fellow FBI agents with the punch. Absolutely.
Yes, for sure. We didn't talk about this yesterday. Caitlin Clark, well, the WNBA is racist. I did my podcast on this today. My podcast is Kevin Kietzman Has Issues. If you're not getting enough of the radio show, you can always listen to the podcast 24/7. It's kkhasissues.com or anywhere you listen to podcasts. And I led today with Caitlin Clark talking about the WNBA All-Star voting. Now, we've had a fake race claim. Apparently say some things on the bench that she shouldn't have said about Caitlin Clark. So they do fan voting. And, Mark, you probably know where Caitlin finished with the fan vote, right?
Oh, yeah, at the top.
Top. Easy vote getter. With the media, she finished third in media voting for the All-Star game. With players in the league at just the position of guard, she finished ninth. They hate her.
It's crazy.
It is unbelievable how blatant this is in this league. I can't believe how much hate there is toward one person. She is ninth in the fellow player voting. Is Missouri's most famous celebrity Brad Pitt?
I bet so.
Yeah, going with that.
Right.
And he's from Springfield, right?
Mm-hmm.
And went to Mizzou, but we're not sure if he graduated from there.
Yeah.
One of those things.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe did, maybe didn't. His new movie, F1, is out. I had a podcast listener send me an email, said I did something I've never done. I'm assuming he's a Formula One fan. He said, I went to the premiere the first night it was out, and he said, I've never, ever, ever seen a movie like this, that it is visually stunning. He said, you won't believe it. You're going to sit in that seat, go see it at a theater. It's going to blow you away, these Formula One cars.
Go to one of those theaters where the seats rumble a little bit.
Be cool.
I bet that would be fun.
Be cool. Now, I think it's a story we've all heard. I think he's an older driver who gets back into racing. I don't think there's anything really unique about the story. But he's like, it's just going to blow your eyes away. You're going to love watching this thing. How about this? Brad Pitt was doing a podcast interview and was asked about growing up in Missouri. He said it was great. I was driving a car at 12. My dad put me in a bass boat and let me drive it at 11. I had mini bikes and dirt bikes. And then I went to Missouri and partied my way through school. Like, he's opening up about his past growing up in Missouri. He sounds like a real person now. Who is that guy?
We like this Brad Pitt.
Sounds like it. This is going to blow you away. Opening weekend for F1, $144 million nationwide. Is the largest opening for any Brad Pitt movie ever. What? Now, it's based on dollars, and tickets cost more now, so maybe that's really all that is. But wouldn't you think like Ocean's 11 or something?
Oh, yeah.
Classic movies out there. That's it for Uncanceled. Thank you so much for listening. The Vince Show is coming up next on KCMO Talk Radio.